I'm Halle, and this is evaluation question number 7. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to the full product? I hope you enjoy. So I have here both my prelim task and my final task, and I can definitely say there are many conventions that are changed or have changed, and the way that it looks so much more professional now is definitely in a huge contrast to the way how I designed it in the first place. This is my front cover and contents page for my prelim task, and it not necessarily looks childish, but it definitely looks amateurish. I've definitely been able to improve greatly in my use of Photoshop with the layers, the clarity of images, and also the composition of just getting everything together. It's definitely much more professional looking in my contents page if I show you this compared to my prelim cover page. It's got more definition to it, and it looks like everything's been taken into more consideration. I definitely remember when we were doing the prelim task that I didn't really think of which colours went too well together. I mean, I saw like a little bit of red and I just thought I'd add that into here. When now, when I look at this one, I don't know, it's still got all these features of colour looking right where it should have, but it's more informed and it's got more definition because of it, I feel. There's also the initial parts of the cover is very much more eye-catching and clearer. This one makes you want to pick it up and take a look at it and take a closer look and get to know everything on the inside of it. Whereas this one, because I face the artist away from the camera actually, it's almost drawing the audience away from it as well, now that I notice it. It's definitely not got as much as a eye-catching appeal to it as my front cover had. Also, with my contents pages, I made this one much more intriguing, I feel. It's got much more definition with the diamonds that I put in, instead of just the prelim one where I had everything like square at the top of it. Now this one has images all down the way, and it's made it so that the eyes draw all the down the way and then go over to the contents also. Whereas this one, you almost want to just drop your eyes down to the bottom of the page because that's where the end of the magazine is, really. The diamonds also, I feel, really bring it out also. There's also the mise-en-scène of my cover page. With her, I put her in a hat and black clothing so that the holy powder will really stand out. Whereas in this one, I didn't really give her a set look to have, and so it also makes it less effective. I think the brightest thing that I tried to enhance on my prelim one was her headphones, but still that didn't give as much as good effect as that one did. From looking at Real Media text also, I can definitely understand how much this one looks more like a professional actual magazine cover, whereas this one, it'd be something that somebody has made starting out with Photoshop. This one gives off a much more professional and sophisticated look. The artist is more professionally and sophisticated put together. The layout is much more aligned and precise. The masthead and the puff line and the artist quote is much more thought out well, whereas this one, where everything's just put all around to fill up the space more. And you can even see my line at the bottom, it's not even really noticeable considering that it's on a white background also, which I didn't really even consider when I was doing it. And also the red with no kind of emboss or anything is quite flat on page, so it doesn't really stand out at all. I think for this, my strengths are definitely in the photos. I enjoy taking photos, I enjoy making them look precise and nice and sophisticated, and I feel like I really achieved that in this one. I went down another path as I tried to do with this one, where I didn't want the artist looking at the camera with the angle of gaze. I felt that being intrigued, her looking down would also make the audience want to look down as well, but that didn't really help. This one now, with her looking at you, it's really catching your eyes and making you want to also understand why she's looking at you in the first place. She's giving you a reason, and you have to also figure out that reason too. I feel very confident in the fact that I can actually make these sort of things, that it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect yet, but it's getting much better, and I'm applying myself much better into my Photoshop skills. I'm becoming more clear on why it has to look a certain way that it does, otherwise it won't catch the audience and it won't make you want to read it. And thus, this is what magazines are all about. With my contents page and cover page put together, it looks like something that conveys the same message throughout the thing, whereas with my prelim contents page and cover, it's, even though it is slightly saying the same thing, I feel like it could have been done much better, and that's what I've such achieved in this one. I feel much more accomplished, to be honest, about how it's looked and how it's come out and how it's presenting itself to my target audience. It shows a sophisticated artist who's new and upcoming, who's trying to be professional, but also still has that youth about her. And her youth is carried out through my decision to put the Holly powder in. And I feel it's very, very, very rich with understanding of how I progressed throughout doing this. I definitely feel that it's much better to this, and by using like real media texts and studying them much more thoroughly, also using my target market to say what they wanted in a magazine, say what the conventions were, say what I should subvert, and also kind of my own way of interpreting it, which I feel is much better than just going along with the flow and trying to do something different with something that I didn't really take any knowledge about. I didn't really look into it and see if it had been done and it had been done successful. I just said I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do this because I felt it looked good. With this one, I studied it, I asked people about it, and I asked them, why do you think that this would look good, and why do you think that this won't look good? And when I got the response that of why, then it became clear as to why it had to look like this almost, because everybody said, it looks like this, it could look like this, but it could be even more interesting if it looked like, you know, this, if it had more colours, if it had black and white text, if it was only one artist and not crowded with text instead of 3 artists and also not crowded with text, or only one artist and crowded with text. It's definitely much more, I think, reliable as a real image, other than the first one I did, where it's not really as reliable as a magazine. So I think I'm really happy with it. Thank you.